It's a life of hell for widows in Afghanistan. They're society's ultimate outcasts, many forced to beg in the street. They are mocked as prostitutes when they try to shop, rejected when they try to rent their own home, and shunned from jobs that could provide them life's most basic necessities.
It is a bad sort of loneliness. They will not have even the luxury of sit down and mourn the loss because they are so busy finding even something to eat, something to wear, and somewhere to live.
After 3 decades of war, Afghanistan is one of the world's widow capitals. 2 million widows live here. That means 1 out of every 7 Afghan females is a widow. Their dire situation is a legacy of the Taliban and Afghan culture.
Our previous life was very good. When my husband was alive, it was good.
Sabr Gul is 32. Her husband died in the war 6 years ago. With a middle-class background, she was fortunate enough to get a cleaning job earning about $100 a month. Her life was difficult but bearable, thanks mostly to her 16-year-old son, who escorted his mother and 3 sisters into town every day.
My son was a very good boy. He was 16. It was early morning, 8 a.m. He was going to school. The car hit him along the footpath. I don't know if it was the driver's fault, but he killed my son.
For the past 4 years, Sabr Gul and her 3 daughters have been living in this widow shelter run by the Red Crescent Society, the Muslim equivalent of the Red Cross.
If my son were still alive, I wouldn't spend even a second in this shelter. This is a life full of sadness. We don't know what our future holds. What is in store for me? This is life.
The shelter is a rare refuge from the streets. It offers modest job training so widows can move on within 2 years. But most have already been here 4 years, unable to find the independence they seek. Sometimes it seems a man is the only way out. This 60-year-old man is poor and disabled, and he's just arrived at the widow shelter seeking a wife. And this is his bride. In less than an hour, the center selects this blind woman for marriage.
والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأحوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها.
Now she has a man, and in Afghanistan, that's like winning the lottery.
We act like a 19th century Red Cross or Red Crescent rather than 21st century.
Usually they call me Bibi John.
Fatima Galani is trying to solve this crisis against all odds. She's the president of the Red Crescent Society.
There are times that I am absolutely frustrated, I'm tired, and there are moments of total hopelessness. But then the next day I wake up and then I start all over again. I want to be one of those people who have changed this, that we go back to a normal life, the normal life that we used to live before the wars.
Akala is 38 years old. She's the shelter's most determined widow. And she's been trying to make a life for herself ever since her husband died in the war in 2001. But it's been a struggle.
For as long as I can remember, I grew up in war. I got older in this war, and perhaps I'll die in this war, and we haven't seen a single day of happiness.
The war took her husband, and Afghanistan's cultural traditions took her children. They became property of her husband's family. The average Afghan woman lives until about the age of 45. But at 38, Akala is studying at a local university to become a grade school teacher.
I'm not wearing this full burqa for religious customs. I just don't want people to know that I'm living in a shelter. That's what I don't want anyone to find out about.
She's embarrassed to be living at the widow shelter, and she doesn't want her classmates to find out, so she wears a burqa as she walks the campus. After graduation, Akala will earn about $100 a month working as a teacher. It will be enough to move out, but it'll also bring on more problems.
A woman cannot live by herself. A woman cannot rent a house by herself. If she doesn't have any money, she and her children will be ridiculed by society. And if she has money, her property will be seized. She will neither have good health nor a good life, and every moment of her life is in danger. And this thing is obvious. Everyone knows it, and it is not something hidden.
Here, if you go and rent a little room, the first thing they ask you that what your husband does, what your brothers or children, do you have sons? Are they working? So all these questions will be no, 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 no. And then when this is the question of no, then the answer will be no also.
In her free time, Akala teaches other widows about Islam.
Many of our widows here, they have never seen a normal life. They lived in refugee camps, they lived in streets. So we have to give them also to learn from Akala, or like people like Akala, that look, you could be your own lady.
With the assistance of God, we hope Afghanistan can be rescued from its current situation. And the insecurity that I see on the faces of women and children, if we can get rid of it, then I'll be happy.